Charge up your repulsor blasts and reapply your deodorant because it's episode 157 of the Fanboy Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brett Miro, and boy, do we have a show this week. Got some great topics to great topics to cover and a great start to the podcast. Once again, Mario will not be joining me this week. I'm just giving him some time, to be with his family. And again, if you weren't with us last week, Mario's abuela passed away. He was very close with her. Obviously, it was a devastating loss to him and his family. And I just haven't really wanted to bother him. I'm letting him, do his thing. So it'll be another solo episode, but we got a lot of stuff to cover. All right, folks, a lot of great stuff to cover. So let's start off with everything that we always do. We're going to start off with everything that we always do. Okay? That's what we're doing. One of the things I will mention, though, your boy looks good. He looks real good this week. You know why? Because I got a ring light. I invested in a nice ring light, and although I have barely any room on my desk because I have a pretty shallow desk, I have this ring light on here. It's on a little tripod stand. It's kind of tilted down at me, and your boy looks gorgeous. He's glowing. I'm better lit. I could see that the green screen looks a little bit better on the edges, and I look a little more even toned. I do notice that I'm getting cooler and warmer, though. I don't know what the deal with that is. I have a feeling it's my camera making adjustments depending on how far back I lean or how far I go forward, but that's only going to affect the video watchers, the audio listeners. None of this means anything to you, but hey, the ring light, worthwhile investment. Got it on Prime Day. It was like $30. Worthwhile. And now I don't have to have two lamps on my desk pointing at me in different direction and different angles like I did previously. Not that you'd ever know that because it's off screen. But anyway, now that I got the ring light out of the way, and the reason why I look so good, because you were probably wondering, let's talk about what I've been watching and playing. So update from last week. I did hop in and watch the first two episodes of What We Do in the Shadows. 2 episodes of the new season 4. I believe today, as of July 20th, the day I'm recording this, another episode should have come out, but I have not watched it yet. So far, so good. I love that show. It's another a Taika Waititi joint. And it's very, very funny. If you don't know what it is, it's basically The Office, except it's following a group of vampires that live in Staten Island. And it's based off of a movie concept by the same name that Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement made some years back. And I really enjoyed that. And they spun it off into a show. And in my opinion, it's great. Season 3 was a little bit weaker than seasons 1 and 2. But, so far, season 4... the first 2 episodes I thought were fine. Weren't, blowing me out of the water, but there's still a lot of great stuff to mine, a lot of little tiny jokes and gags and sight gags and stuff. So it is one of those shows you kind of have to pay attention to really get a lot of the stuff. But nothing had me rolling off my chair like the first 2 seasons did so far. But there's still a lot of season to go. So I've been watching What We Do in the Shadows. That's on FX, or you could catch it on Hulu after it airs there if you are simply on streaming. As far as playing, I have been continuing playing Tales of Arise. I still like it. Been dipping in here and there, play a couple of hours. Very chatty game, but it's still fun. I'm still enjoying everything. The story is propelling me forward. I'm also still playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Just jumped back into that a little bit. I haven't touched it in a couple of weeks. Did some more missions there. Game is still very, very fun. One new thing I tackled and one new thing I picked up. So a new game that I have been trying out is called Escape Academy. If you have Xbox Game Pass, it is on there, included on Game Pass this month. It's basically an escape room game. So like those escape rooms that are like very popular now that people go to in person to do all the little puzzles and escape the room. It's that, but in a game form. And it was actually designed by people who work in that industry and design escape rooms. And I've only played there's kind of 2 opening kind of tutorial puzzles that you do kind of to initiate you. There's a little story, but it's nothing crazy. It's oh, we chose you because you're really smart, and now you're in the Escape Academy. Woo! And you got to pass all the tests to become a master escape artist. It's not really important. But I started that off really enjoying it. And I did the first two tutorial ones, and then I did like the first, like, I guess, like main mission, when you actually get into the academy past the tutorial. And yeah, really, really fun. So far, pretty cleverly designed puzzles. I like that stuff. So I've been enjoying that. As far as what I've picked up, I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I will definitely try it by the time we have next week's episode, so I can tell you about it. But this new game, Stray, has just come out. This is the one Mario was joking about, that you could like lick your ass or whatever in it. This game was teased, I think, like last year. It's like you're like a little cat in a dystopian, like cyberpunk future, and it's like apparently like an adventure-y kind of game, a little bit of platforming stuff, but I don't think it's like heavy in any direction, as far as like combat or platforming. I think it's kind of basic stuff. And but I've heard it's getting great reviews. The story is supposed to be really well. I picked it up. I downloaded it. I haven't started it yet. I will probably start it tonight after I finish recording this podcast. So that's my quick little what I've been watching and playing. And then we'll get a little more into something else that I have watched, something I mentioned I started last week, and I finished it. But I'm going to save that for later, so you'll have to wait to find out what it is. So that's it. Now, next topic, a topic that we make a lot of jokes about every week because we never have anything, and that's our Superman on Film update. So this is our update for July 21st, 22, and there's a little something. There's a little something this week. I don't have to make a lame joke or just be like, there's nothing, and then move on. We have a little bit of something. So this comes from Deadline, has put out an article kind of teasing what types of announcements could come during the San Diego Comic-Con, which is this coming Saturday, which would be, if I'm not mistaken, the 23rd. WB and DC have their whole H panel on Saturday. So one of the things that the article has noted is that there could be a surprise appearance from Henry Cavill, teasing that there will be more Superman in the DCEU. I don't know if this is just, wishful thinking. Obviously, it's something on everyone's minds. We've all been wondering, thinking about it. He's had all those cryptic teases in the past. The Rock has had all these teases that he's going to meet up with Superman. We know we have Black Adam coming at the end of the year, and we know that David Zaslav from Warner Discovery, the new head of Warner Discovery, wants Superman fast-tracked. And we know there's a script, and we know all the rewrites are happening. We know all these little tidbits. So I don't know if it's just coming off of that, and everyone's like, let's just get everyone pumped, and Deadline's trying to get everyone psyched. But you know what? It's very likely we could get Henry Cavill making an appearance to tease something. So Mario and I had previously talked about that in Black Adam, there is likely going to be a Superman tease. The rumor has been that it's going to be another headless Superman tease, akin to the one we got in, what do you call it? Shazam, the first Shazam at the end of that. Or maybe, akin to the little silhouetted Superman we saw at in the finale of Peacemaker. But listen, it's not out of the question that we're going to see Henry Cavill, maybe, and very likely he will tease that he will be making a cameo, or there will be some appearance from him or reference to him in Black Adam. Like I said, Mario and I talked about that headless tease was going to happen, and we both kind of felt the same way, that unless you have something else on the horizon for Superman, it's just kind of like, it's not cute, and it's a little fucking annoying that you're just going to put another stupid silhouette or headless Superman in there with no plans for a Superman future yet revealed. So if Henry Cavill does indeed show up, I'm pretty excited, because that means that maybe we will get I don't think he's going to show up just to announce that he's going to maybe be in Black Adam. I think there will be a little more to it, or at least some kind of announcement that yes, he is returning as Superman in a mainline Superman movie. And if that's the case, hopefully he doesn't have to do a stupid headless cameo or Superman doesn't have to have a headless cameo in Black Adam, and they could just actually have Henry Cavill. Or at least, even if they do the headless cameo, which is stupid, it's still stupid. Even if they do that, at least we know that there's some Superman goodies on the horizon. So folks, if he indeed does show up on Saturday and announces that he's coming back, I think that's going to make a lot of people happy. And I think, from there on out, we will have hopefully a lot more to talk about each week in our Superman on Film update. And Mario can start really waxing poetic on Superman stuff. I know he's been also itching to create like Superman, dedicated Superman content that'll probably be separate from this podcast as well. So that'll be awesome, and we'll be eating good, folks. So I actually really hope this happens. I just want to hear something about Superman. I know some people are kind of like over the Cavill thing now. I've definitely talked to some fans on Twitter that kind of feel like, oh, he's a little old at this point, like just start new. I think I've been one of the people that was like, just start fresh. There's a lot of baggage with that. But at the same time, if it might be true, it is kind of exciting. And I still did enjoy him as Superman. And if he's in a project, I think that more closely aligns with the character in the comics and what people, diehard Superman fans really want to see. I still think there's a lot of potential for his return, rather than just, necessarily continuing on the exact, character of Superman that he played in the Snyderverse. If he, is a little more joyful, more hopeful, I'm curious to see what they do, but I have a feeling there will be definitely a tonal change for his character versus the Zack Snyder stuff. So while I'm on this, though, normally we do listener questions at the end, but I did get another listener question, and it kind of ties in. I kind of started to hint at it. But Eugene Tan, who sent in a bunch of questions last week, thank you, Eugene, sent us another question this week. And his question is, with the Black Adam movie set to come out in October 2022, is it possible that the movie will set up the next chapter where we can see Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam fight Henry Cavill's Superman? Very curious to hear your thoughts. So yeah, I kind of just said it. I mean, it's been teased, to no end with The Rock himself. Henry Cavill has had those like cryptic tweets and like the tweets from like his manager or whatever, kind of saying like, the what was it? The cape's still in the closet or some such nonsense. So I think with all that, and now this little rumor that he might show up on Saturday, I think it's very likely that, we will actually see like Henry Cavill's Superman be teased in Black Adam. I still think it'll be a post-credit thing, and I think if they even tease that, I think before we get our Black Adam 2, I definitely think, and I hope, we would get like a solo Superman project to like reintroduce Henry Cavill back into the mix, and then maybe he, shows up in Black Adam 2 or something like that, or maybe they tag something on to Shazam Fury of the Gods as well to kind of tie them together, and then we have like some kind of team up there at that point. It seems like to me like it would make most sense to have the Black Adam and Superman fight, happen in a Black Adam or a Shazam movie and kind of like tie them in that way, rather than like, Black Adam being like the main villain in a Superman film or something like that. Not to say that they can't do that, but I think if we're going to do a mainline Superman, let's get some mainline Superman villains, and then like let's have a cool team up with Shazam and Superman and against Black Adam or something. So so Eugene, it's seeming more likely than ever that we will set up The Rock's Black Adam versus Henry Cavill's Superman. I'm feeling good about it, folks. It's pretty cool, man. It's a world of wonder and miracles that we live in. So, guys, we'll stay tuned. Hopefully, obviously, if something crazy happens on Saturday, I unfortunately won't be able to react to it immediately. I'm going to be away this weekend, but rest assured, next week, whether it's just me, whether it's just Mario, whether it's me and Mario, we will definitely be talking a shitload about whatever happens on Saturday with Henry Cavill and Superman. Alrighty, so that's our Superman on Film update. Next, we'll stay in the DC universe. Cool little announcement. So there is a Harley Quinn audio series or podcast. A lot of these have been coming out kind of popular. I know there's a Batman one right now with, and I'm going to forget his name, the gentleman from Black Panther. That played like the other clans like leader. Why am I forgetting his name right now? Anyway, he played M'Baku, right? I think was his name in the movie. Winston Duke, if I'm not mistaken. Winston Duke is voicing Batman in this Batman series called Batman Unburied. I've heard good things. I haven't listened yet, but I've heard it's great. So now it looks like, DC is going into this more. So on Spotify, there is going to be Harley Quinn and the Joker Sound Mine. So it's going to basically talk about Harley Quinn's origin story, but through the perspective of Harley instead of the way that the Joker has told it in the comics. And the casting for it is Christina Ricci will be playing Harleen Quinzel slash Harley Quinn. Because she had been out of the spotlight for quite a while. You know, I hadn't seen her like since she was younger and like a lot. She was a very popular actress back in the day, and recently she's had kind of like a little renaissance. She's in that show Yellow Jackets, which I've heard is on Netflix, which I heard is very very good, and she's in it, and she's supposed to be very good in it. But now that they said that, I never thought of her before, but like she's probably like would make a really good Harley Quinn. And I'm kind of like, shit, man. She would actually probably be good either in the Joker sequel or if like Margot Robbie decided to like back off the role or if they wanted to have like some other type of like in-universe Harley Quinn. Christina Ricci's really good casting. I mean, like I definitely think she could look the part, and she's known for playing like darker characters and stuff like that. So I don't know why I never thought of it before, and I'm sure people have thought of it before. But now that I see it on paper, I'm like, oh shit, that's good casting. That is really good. So that's actually really cool. I don't know if you have to be subscribed to like the Spotify Premium or something like that to access this. I don't know how that all works. But yeah, if I can like watch it with like out too much, if I'm having to like pay and join in yet another subscription service, or listen, I should say, not watch. I will probably check that out. That sounds pretty cool. I would actually like to hear it. And I do want to check out that Batman Unburied. If you're a listener and you have listened to Batman Unburied, I would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations if I should get into it or not. It sounds pretty cool. So that's a neat little announcement. Let me know what you think. Christina Ricci as Harley Quinn, man. Why didn't I ever think of it? Next, Steven Soderbergh has teased that there could be a Magic Mike universe. Shut the fuck up. Next, Mortal Kombat movie sequel is moving forward. That's right, folks. I don't know if you, our faithful listeners, had checked out the Mortal Kombat movie on HBO Max. It came out last year on my birthday. It was a strange birthday present, but I thought it was fun. It was goofy. I don't know what anyone expected. They wanted some like super serious, gritty reboot. It's goofy and it's a fighting game. And even like in the games, the storylines are goofy and crazy and off the walls. I thought it was fine. I thought it had a lot of cool little references for people that are fans of the games that I thought were really fun. They had a cool remix of that Mortal Kombat theme from the original movies. And I actually liked the kind of Scorpion Sub-Zero like backstory that kind of like anchored like the emotional through line. Unfortunately, the main character that was like kind of like the stand-in for the audience, who I think was it something? What's his name? It's something Tan, right? Is his name? And I forget. Yeah, he kind of was like flat, and his weird Mortal Kombat power was that he got like a weird armor. it was like the weirdest like power to give him. I don't know. It was very strange. So that part, there was some weird stuff, but overall it was a fun movie. I mean, like I said, if you went in expecting like fucking The Dark Knight, I mean, like I don't know like why your expectations were there, but it was fun. It was goofy, and they are doing a sequel, and it looks like Simon McQuoid, who directed the first one, will be doing this one. He'll direct a script from Jeremy Slater, who recently worked on Moon Knight. So we shall see. I don't know if it has any type of date yet, or when it might happen, but looking, and yeah, I don't know if there's any dates or anything yet, but it's happening. They're going to do it, and we'll probably see that next like year or so. So if you wanted a Mortal Kombat sequel, you're getting one. I think there's a lot like little things they could learn from the first one and make this one a little tighter. And it should, if it has the heart and the goofiness of the first one, I'm in. It's one of those turn your brain off, kind of just have a little fun. So Mortal Kombat movie, the sequel's moving forward. We also don't have a title. So, and I should mention, we should be, we don't have anything official, but the director had previously mentioned Kitana, Sindel, Jade, and Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage was even teased at the end of the first one. So yeah, that's something that will happen, and we'll get some more fan favorite characters, and we'll have another silly Mortal Kombat movie. I'm in. Next, the Russells, Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt Russell, have joined onto the Godzilla series that will be on Apple TV Plus. From what I understand, this is connected to the quote unquote monster verse that includes Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Kong Skull Island, and the Godzilla versus Kong. So all those movies are connected to this. The quick little pitch line, the elevator pitch is following the thunderous battle between Godzilla and the Titans that leveled San Francisco and the shocking new reality that monsters are real. The series will explore one family's journey to uncover its buried secrets and a legacy linking them to the secret organization known as Monarch. It's connected to those films, which I thought I really liked the first Godzilla. The second one, Kong Skull Island was awesome. Godzilla versus Kong was very fun as well. So I don't have like a particular issue with any of those films. I thought, a couple of them, like two of them were like really good, and then like two of them were like, eh. Now, obviously, I would imagine with, Apple seems to be like comfortable spending some money and budget on their TV shows. So, but being that it is a TV series, I imagine that we're not going to get too much Titans and monsters. And I imagine it will probably focus a lot on the, like it says, it's focusing on one family's journey, on a lot of human drama. And they cast Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell, two very good actors, in the movie. So it's interesting, because I lost my train of thought, but the whole point I was trying to make is that the people drama has not been the strongest part of any of those MonsterVerse films, and quite frankly, it dragged the films down, and it was pretty much not compelling. I mean, most people, when they watch these Godzilla and Kong movies, I just want to see Godzilla and Kong smash shit and fight other monsters and do that. When every time they pulled back away to the human drama, it was just like snooze fest. Like, I'm fucking over it. Let's get back to monsters smashing the city. So, that is setting a whole series based around human drama around that shit. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to end up. If they are able to actually like make a decent amount of the series, with the Titans and some cool like sci-fi stuff like that. Maybe if they could actually do like 50% of that series being Godzilla and Titan stuff, could be really awesome. But if it's just going to be like 80-90% like just weird family drama and then like 10% monsters, I don't know. I just don't know. So we'll see. I don't know about this one. I'm looking at anything else. Like, are there other people involved are people involved in this that were involved in the movies? I don't know. I can't tell. Who knows? Anyway, that's a Godzilla series. It's going to be made, and it's going to come out. I don't know if there's any dates or times for that yet. But now that they're casting, you could assume they're going to shoot in the next year. So I would imagine like a late 2023 or a 2024 debut for that series. I don't know. I'll keep my eye on this, though. I'm interested with the Russells involved. I mean, that's the only thing maybe that might draw me into it, and just seeing how they balance out the monster stuff and the human stuff. All right, next. This is not something I want to dig into too much. I mean, this big piece came out on Rolling Stone, an exclusive, that a Warner Media report reveals that bots and other inauthentic users bolstered the fan-led campaign for director Zack Snyder's Justice League do-over. So I believe this article is claiming that there were a lot of fake accounts and bots used to help, push the amount of people clamoring for the Snyder Cut to get released. So the Release the Snyder Cut campaign. And I believe it also touches on the fact that bots were also used to help push the Snyder Cut of Justice League to win that like Oscar fan favorite cheer moment award. I mean, here's my opinion on it right now. Like, just who fucking cares, man? How are people still caring about this? Like, this movie came out, the first movie, Justice League, came out fucking in 2017, and then we got in 2020, the Snyder Cut. Like, fucking enough already, man. Or 2021, I don't remember when it came out. fucking enough already. Like, people still like constantly fighting on the internet about this movie. Oh my God, it's so better. We got to keep clamoring and fuck Warner Brothers. And I'm not going to watch any of their other films. And if we just keep pushing, then they'll bring Snyder back. And it's like, so many trains have left the station at this point. Like, I don't know, like, I would assume like Warner like wanted this article to come out or like push for it, or the fact that they had a report and like some study to get this data that this happened. Like, who fucking cares, man? I don't know. I mean, I guess people still do, but it's like, it's beyond me. Like, I don't know if that Zack Snyder wants to come back and do any more films after the way, this shit all went down. I mean, Ben Affleck has most certainly moved on. Like, yeah, could you maybe get Ray Fisher back? I don't know. Maybe if like the right people are removed. Like, I know he still wants like Hamada gone and Jeff Johns and all the stuff if he's going to do any project. I mean, Ezra Miller, obviously that shit's kind of crazy. And people are now taking this article and like, yeah, see, this proves that there's a hit piece on Ezra Miller. I don't know, man. There's a lot of footage and accounts on Ezra Miller, and he's definitely are definitely mentally unwell and having a mental break right now. So I don't think that's a hit piece. I think there's some crazy shit going on with them. So there's that. I mean, yeah, you can get what's his face? Momoa back because he's still Aquaman, and Gal Gadot back because she's Wonder Woman. But like, I think the train has left the station for everybody else. So like, you can keep clamoring for this all you want, but I don't see the main people involved like coming back. Like, they've left, they've moved on, they're doing other things. There's other plans in place now. So from that standpoint, I'm just like, fucking enough already. Like, listen, you could still love the Snyder movies. If those are your favorite DC movies, all the power to you. But it's also the fact that I'm not going to demonize everybody, but like we've said 1,000 times, there's a portion of that Snyder Cut fan base that is fucking toxic as all hell. There's claims also like in this article that like, they don't name any sources, but like, I don't know, that like Zack Snyder like kind of like sicked the Snyder Cut fan base on Warner to like get stuff done. And I wonder how true that is. I'm not going to sit here and like really like debate the validity of that. I know there are people that are absolutely fucking sure that's what happened, or say that that's just bullshit. Like, there are people online that have made their minds up. I'm not here to argue with either of them. This whole situation is ridiculous. I can't believe we're just still talking about it. Like, listen, like, that vision, as much as you may have wanted it, it's done. Like, it's done. It's over. It's over. I mean, listen, never say never. Never say never, because watch, they'll do something and then everyone will be like, Brett, you're an asshole. You don't support the fans. You're a shill. Like, I don't fucking get paid for this. I'm not getting paid. I'm just right now I'm taking time out of my day, just do it because I fucking love to do it. I'm not getting paid. I have no insider information. Here and there, Mario and I used to get screening things. I was never required, when I watched a movie to like write a good review or anything like that. I just got to see things early, and I always give my honest opinion. I'm not here to, jeopardize journalistic integrity. I'm not a journalist. I'm a fucking fan. I like talking about this stuff with other like-minded people. So I'm kind of all over the place, but just my thoughts on this is it's just so fucking ridiculous. Like, I don't even understand why this report had to come out, or like why did this have to come out? Like, it's done. Just put it behind you. Move on. You know what I mean? Like, the fans that still want to keep talking about it, they're going to do it anyway. They can still keep talking about it. But like, to like fan the flames like this, and now like all these other conspiracies are coming out. Well, if this is true, then that must be true. It's just fucking enough already. It's enough. It's enough. It was an interesting idea Zack Snyder had. It wasn't for everybody. Let's just accept it. And I'm not excusing the studio. Definitely fucked with those films. They messed a lot of things up. We've seen the director's cuts for Batman vs Superman and Justice League. They're definitely superior to the theatrical cuts. I still don't think that it made them like incredible, amazing masterpiece movies. My opinion, some people think they are. My opinion, still not incredible masterpiece films. But definitely significantly better than the theatrical versions. And knowing Zack Snyder's plans for his whole arc, it wasn't exactly the story I was clamoring for or wanted to see. But it was certainly a story. He had an idea. He had a vision. And, I would have watched all of these films, even if I was feeling meh or just like kind of confused by a lot of them. I still would have seen them and watched them. Like, I'm not that kind of person. Like, that's just gonna be like, oh, I'm not watching anything. But yeah, I just can't stand like the the toxic fandom and like the fan base just being like, I'm not going to watch anything now. It's just like, it's silly. Like, I don't know. Like, if it really hurts you or burns you that much, fine. But like, why deny? Like, they're still making content of superhero characters that we love. Like, why deny yourself that shit just because, like, you know, your favorite director didn't get his way? I don't know. Like, I don't understand what like people's like personal investment and stakes are in this. Like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm fucking over it. I'm flabbergasted. So apparently bots. Who cares? I mean, like, obviously people use bots for fucking everything. So like, of course there were bots used for this. Like, I'm not surprised. And if you're like denying that there were no bots, like, you're full of shit. Like, there were 100% bots. And it's not like as exclusive to Zack Snyder fans or Zack Snyder films. There's bots used for fucking everything. There's a million bots. There's bots just doing shit to like rile up people politically. There's bots for fucking weird like campaigns to shut down movies and cancel people. Like, there's bots used for everything. So like, to even deny it is stupid. Like, but also like to have a report on it is just fucking like, fucking duh. All right, fucking duh. All right. So anyway, there were bots. Can we just stop with it already? Like, it's done. The Snyder Cut came out. Awesome. You got the movie. You have Man of Steel. You have Batman vs Superman. You have, a lot of Zack shit is still like evident in like the first Wonder Woman movie, in the Aquaman film. Like, there's still like, he got a lot of his vision is out there, so it's just like, it's stupid. All the studio shit, all the drama, all the internet turmoil is fucking dumb. But we did get some stuff from this guy, and it was good. Some of it was good, and some of it was not good. And everyone is entitled to their opinion, but just like enough with like the stupid drama, and this person said that, and he sicked bots, and he sicked the fan base to push this to happen, and like, I don't understand like what all the shit slinging is about. Like, just fucking enough already. Like, go just move on. Just move on. Everybody move on. That's my opinion. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But I'm not. Lastly, on our topics for this week, Ethan Hawke, in an interview with Variety, he says Marvel is actor friendly, but maybe not director friendly. And I actually really like. I want to read some of the quotes because I really like how he put this. So he played the villain in Moon Knight, and it was something that he in the past had kind of spoken a little critically of comic book genre. So it was kind of shocking that he even took the role. But he thinks that we're kind of referring to like Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola had made some comments being critical of the MCU, and I'm going to read you the quote. So Hawke said, "It needs to be somebody in the community saying, 'Hey, everybody, this is not Fanny and Alexander,'" which is like a well-regarded, more like indie kind of film. He in the article says he doesn't mind directors such as Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola being critical of Marvel movies. Hawke says, "If you keep reviewing these movies that are basically made for 14-year-olds, like they're Fanny and Alexander or Winterlight, then who the hell is going to get to make Winterlight? I appreciate the elder statesman of the community reminding people not to set the bar too low. I know it makes some people think they're stuck up, but they're not stuck up." He then said, "The group of people at Marvel is extremely actor friendly. They might not be director friendly, and that could be what Scorsese and Coppola are talking about, but they love actors. I think Kevin Feige had a great thing happen with Robert Downey Jr., and he understood that Downey's passion was a large part of the success. When actors are excited by a part, audiences get excited about watching them. Feige understood the algorithm there, so they're extremely respectful toward the process. The best thing about Moon Knight for me was Oscar's performance. It's a gonzo thing that happens to have a giant budget. A pretty out there performance. he was also asked if he worried by IndieWire if he worried about getting sucked into the MCU for a long time. And Hawk said, "I'm not supposed to talk about it. I had to sign an NDA about dealing with them, but I'm not interested in long-term commitments. I protected myself because I didn't know what it was going to be. I just wanted to know what that sandbox was like, and it's what young people are watching. So why are we going to sit there and tell them it's not good?" So a lot of interesting things said there. So yeah, obviously we had, Coppola and Scorsese had come out and said that the Marvel films are not cinema. Hawk here said that, they're movies made for 14-year-olds. And I get what he's saying. Like, there is like this medium there. He said, like, if we're treating these films like they're fucking like Citizen Kane or like these amazing movies, you are in a way setting the bar low, because there are a lot of these, like, listen, there are deeper films out there than these MCU movies. Let's just put it that way. There are much deeper films telling deeper stories, telling more personal, relatable stories that are set in our real world, that are not fantastical. And that's no shade on these MCU movies, because some of them do have a message. And listen, if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you like a lot or some of them. You know what I mean? Obviously, I do. Mario does. We like the stuff. But I do get like where the critical consensus is. The movies are definitely aimed towards a catch-all. They want to grab everybody, young people, older people alike. And then when you set these movies as like, oh my God, they are like the holy grail, like, if that's what everything else is being judged off of, nothing else can really exist. And you're seeing that. You've heard these complaints before that, the only things that are making it into theaters now are these big bombastic summer blockbusters. And this is like the height of cinema now. So where are these, like smaller art house films, and how do they get done? So, I think it's great that the way Hawk articulated, because yeah, Scorsese and Coppola, I think, did come off a little bit like grumpy old men. And I think Hawk is, he's a guy that is dedicated to the craft. He is into the art. You could see he does straight to DVD films. He does bigger films. He does a lot of different characters. I think he just wants to make art. He wants to be an interesting character. He wants to play, whether it's theater, whether it's film. He's directed some stuff as well. I think this guy really just cares about the craft and the art. So I think it was nice for him to kind of like the way he put it, and I think maybe clarify it. And he put that, like, I think it's good that the elder statesman, reminding people, like, hey, like, not to say that MCU is not cinema or they're not movies, like how like Coppola and Scorsese came off, but reminding them, like, listen, just also see these movies, enjoy them, but like also know what they are, and that there's a lot of other great art out there too. And if that's great, if this is like, oh my God, this movie, if I don't know which one was like really good. which one was really good? If Endgame is so good, if Infinity War was so great, if Iron Man 1 was so great, where does it leave like some of the other like projects and work that is out there that is not related to these comic book movies? That's at least how I'm interpreting it. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I'm like adding anything to this conversation or not, but I think it's interesting. And it's funny, you said, I don't know if it's director friendly. And I think we've seen, some films like kind of seem made by committee, or like they are just kind of like guided by Kevin Feige. I know Mario's opinion in the past that like John Watts, who directed like the 3 Spider-Man films, was kind of just like, like a company guy. Like it in a way, those movies kind of like, they just had a formula, and there wasn't anything in there particularly that you'd be like, oh, that's a John Watts staple. Whereas, now, I haven't seen Thor 4 yet, but obviously we're hearing, there's kind of polarizing opinions of it online. It's a Taika Waititi movie, for better or for worse. And, we're seeing that there's a lot of like stupid narrative stuff to like the movie's like bombing and not doing well in the box office. And it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's making great money. But, definitely critical reception seems to be mixed, or just like common fan, anecdotally, fan reception has been kind of mixed with it. So we're seeing that. And then also like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which I enjoyed, but I thought was like a little all over the place. And, supposedly, we covered this story a couple of weeks ago, that Kevin Feige was a little more hands off with that and let Sam Raimi do his thing. And it seems like maybe they let Taika Waititi do his thing for Thor 4 after the success of Ragnarok. And these are seem to be more mixed reception. So like when they are letting directors do their own thing, it seems to be kind of like, and I don't know if it's people are just so used to the Marvel formula by now that when they do see something a little bit different, it's kind of like polarizing and like, what the fuck is this? Or if just that like that those things really aren't hitting. So it's interesting. And we also covered, or I covered a story like a week ago or 2 weeks ago that, they are looking for big name directors for Fantastic Four. There's like some big rumor that they're trying to get Spielberg or something, which I can't see that happening. That would be incredible if they did, but and if they let Spielberg, I'm sure Spielberg's not going to be taking no shit. Like he's going to make a Spielberg movie. So it's very interesting. What's going on now with the MCU? Very, very interesting. So I think Hawk nailed it though. Like it definitely seems like they are about the actors, and the actors are getting to really like bring what they want to the table. But looks like some of the more freedom that they've given directors have resulted in more mixed reception versus like the very carefully crafted and molded like phases 1, 2, and 3, where they kind of got some people to come on board and just execute their vision. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Hawk's comments are also snotty or snobby? Do you agree with Hawk? Do you agree with Scorsese and Coppola? Do you think everyone's wrong? Do you agree with me? Sound off in the comments. Let me know. I'm actually super curious. And while we're talking about sounding off in the comments, communicating with us, remember, you could always reach us at the Fanboy Podcast at gmail.com. Email us there, questions, suggestions, just like our friend Eugene Tan. Obviously, listen, we're not like the biggest podcast in the world, but we do have like, I think close to 400 or 500 audio listeners, not as many YouTube. We're trying to grow that, but I definitely need to learn more social media marketing. But, people, we have a lot of listeners out there, and we have people internationally. So I love to hear from them and just kind of hear different stories and opinions and how things performed where they live and how the kind of zeitgeist is there on a lot of this stuff. But yeah, if you send us a question, I'm probably going to read it on here because it's not like I'm getting like a million. I want that problem. I hope one week I have so many questions I can't possibly cover them, or I have to record an additional podcast and just do like a mailbag. That would be cool. So fanboypodcast at gmail.com is a great place because it keeps everything consolidated. But also feel free to tweet myself at Super Bretcon. You can tweet Mario at Superman on Film. You can tweet just to the show at The Fanboy Show on Twitter. And, reach us that way. Any way you get at us, I will, myself and Mario will do our best to find those comments and save them and cover them on a future episode. So please reach out. Fanboypodcast at gmail.com. So to wrap up this episode, I want to give my reaction to Miss Marvel Season 1. So last week I had watched the first 2 episodes and give you my thoughts on that. The very next day I marathoned the remaining 4 and I finished the season. And overall, I really liked the series. I definitely think, like I said, it was expand your horizons. I was kind of like, it might not be for me. It's not aimed at my type. It's not for me. It's aimed towards high school kids, and it's not aimed towards adults or, whatever. That's like my naive brain, jaded brain. And I watched it and it was really fun. Had a lot of cool style. So obviously I'm going to go into a couple little spoilers here. So as we all know, because they kind of prepared us ahead of time, there was a major change to the origin of Kamala's powers in this. To how they kind of show themselves and everything. And I know it was like a big uproar. But having watched the series, although the origin of it is different, like in this one, she is not inhuman. She is not a polymorph. She has control over hard light, which is a power she sort of has inside of her. A little more on that. And also gets from this like mystical bracelet that she has from that was passed down from her family, and it has power from the newer, which is like another dimension that it draws power from. But she's able to like create these like constructs with it, and but also they basically, she's still able to do the stuff she did as a polymorph. They legit have like, even though it's not her body itself stretching, she's able to like kind of create like a long like big fist and hand. So and like big and like make big fists and hit people and stuff. So she's able to kind of like, you know, kind of polymorph the hard light as an extension of her appendages to do that. So I hope like I don't hope, it doesn't matter. I guess I hope. I mean, I wonder if that still pissed people off about that change by the time they got to the end of the series, because even in the final episode, again, big spoiler, really cool moment, she actually embiggens, and the hard light kind of creates like it kind of stretches her out and everything, and like gives her the big fist and big legs and makes her taller and bigger and stronger and stuff like that. It just has like, you know, the visual effect is a bit different, but she's still able to basically do all the things she does in the comics. It just looks a little different, and the origin of it is a bit different. So I thought that was interesting. So I wonder if like people were like less pissed off by the end of it, or they're still angry anyway. The other big reveal at the end of this there is that they finally, and I alluded to this last week because I kind of had it spoiled for me when I was yelling at people spoiling things on social media, but they did drop the M word. So Kamala's, is it Kamala or Kamala? I'm probably saying it wrong. I apologize to fans. But her best friend, who I already forgot his name, it might have been like Brandon or something. I know one of the characters mistakenly calls him Brian the whole time, and I keep thinking it's Brian now, because I feel like they said that more than they said his real name. But anyway, the best friend had, you know, of course, she has like a super smart best friend that has access to all this technology, where like, you're fucking in high school, how can you have all this stuff? But he's like, I examined your blood and your body, and or whatever, and he said, she has a mutation. So they said they didn't say mutant, but they said mutation. And actually, if I understand my comic history correctly, originally, Kamala, fuck, now it's going to bother me. I'm going to say both. Was supposed to have her powers be the result of mutation, or she was supposed to have a mutant origin, but then, you know, it ended up being an inhuman origin in the comics. But I believe the original plan was to have her be a mutant. So this actually kind of went back to that. And now that we have mutations and mutants, you better be damn sure we're probably going to be seeing some X-Men stuff soon. There is going to be some X-Men stuff and mutant stuff coming on the horizon, no doubt. I wonder if we might hear some stuff about that at San Diego Comic-Con, if they might drop some of that stuff. So yeah, very, very interesting. But yeah, overall, I really liked the series. I thought it was fun. There was a lot of cool. I've seen some articles that like, maybe some of the historical stuff about, you know, India and Pakistan and like her history is not like 100% done perfectly or 100% accurate. And I'm not going to pretend like I know, because I'm just a fucking cisgendered white guy from Long Island. So, but overall, just from my perspective, I did actually really like how much her family history, I mentioned this even the first two episodes, but even through to the end, how much her family history and the actual real world backdrop in his history of Pakistan and everything was actually integrated into the story. I actually found it really interesting, and I thought it was, you know, for the most part, me being naive and not actually knowing all of this stuff, I thought it was done very well. Hopefully I wasn't too misinformed. Hopefully people aren't too upset if they screwed some stuff up, but I thought it was cool. Like, I think it was really important to get the representation out there, and I think it made her character and like her powers and the origin and everything all the more special than it just being like, oh, you're an Inhuman, Terrigen Mist, woo! Like, it actually had some kind of connection and was more personal to her and her family. I loved her family, that her family was so involved. Her brother is a great character. He was really fun. But yeah, man. We that was Miss Marvel season 1. So they had a cool little teaser, it was a post-credit teaser where Kamala gets kind of like, just, I don't know, she swaps places with Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, who's also sporting a new hairdo, and it looks like a new suit. And that was cool, and they totally set it up and teased it to go into the Marvels, which is going to be that next film that's supposed to feature Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, Miss Marvel, Kamala, Khan, and what's her face? The Photon. Is her name Photon or something? I messed it up. She was in WandaVision. She's another Captain Marvel character. I forgot what her name is. Is it Photon? Something with a photon or a proton. I'm proton, photon. So I'm bad. I haven't watched WandaVision in a while, and I didn't do my research before. You know what? Just fucking look it up. Just fucking look it up. And she's the daughter of Monica Rambeau, right? If I'm not mistaken, who was in the first Captain Marvel movie, and we saw as a other multiverse version of Captain Marvel in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So it's her daughter who then becomes a marvelous woman as well. So that's my review and my reaction. It's good. We got mutants. And although her powers are different, it's like she still can do the things that she does. The things that you like to see her do, she can still do. It just looks a little different. One thing I will mention though, because with the hard light, like I said, she does the appendages. She makes the big fist. She has the stretchy arm, but it's just made out of hard light. It's not her actual arm stretching out. She embiggened, which was pretty dope. It was a really cool moment. But there's this other cool thing is like she kind of like can make platforms for herself and like run across them, which I thought is actually kind of cool. And there's a really cool scene. I might have been like episode 3 or 4, where she's getting chased. I think it's at the brother's wedding through like the kitchen and stuff. And she actually is like on the floor and like creates a little like hard light platform and then use that to kick off of and like slide under like a kitchen table. And like, I thought they used it like really cool. Like there was some really cool use of that power. I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. And then they kind of like backloaded it with like nods to like her regular power set. Cause at first I was like, oh wow, they really are changing it. Like it's a very different set of powers. But I really like how they integrated it. Me personally, not being someone who's like, oh my God, you have to do everything they do in the comics and not, I didn't like grow up on this character or have like some big attachment where I get upset when they change things. And as you know, if you listen to the show, I'm never a guy that's like, you have to do everything beat for beat because that's boring. Like do a different interpretation. That's cool. I just hate sometimes when they change things just for the sake of changing them or obviously this is a subjective thing, but changing them, just changing them for the worse, like just making a change that's so fucking stupid and baffling. You know what I mean? Like I get why they kind of did this power set, especially with Fantastic Four on the horizon. I guess they just didn't want too stretchy people. And this kind of differentiates her a little bit. And it's probably, I would imagine it must be a little easier on the effects budget and just easier on the effects in general. Because like, I'll be honest, like Multiverse of Madness, like when we had John Krasinski as Reed Richards, spoiler for Multiverse of Madness, I thought when he was like stretching, it looked, I mean, let's face it, stretching doesn't like ever really look good. Just because the CG, like everyone ends up just looking like fucking rubber. Like even when people aren't stretching, they look like a weird rubber person, when the CG is like not up to snuff. And it's just like, it's not, it's right. It's not like a lot of these films. It's not, you look like a weird action figure, like a rubber Gumby doll or something. So anyway, the whole point, when John Krasinski was Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness, I thought his stretchy stuff did not look great. It looked kind of shitty. And I imagine if they had to do that throughout the Marvel series, the Captain Marvel series. And listen, they're going to have to figure it out for Fantastic Four. Hopefully that doesn't look shitty too. Maybe they'll figure it out by then and get it down or find some way to like make it look better. But I imagine, just for like with the budget of a show, they were just like, we can't do this. It's going to look like absolute trash. And with the glowing, ethereal hard light, the purple diamond crystally stuff, which didn't always look amazing too, but being the fact that it is from like another dimension, like it's like you can kind of get away with it. It's some weird hard light, like some other material or way of utilizing the energy in the world from like another fucking dimension. So like you can get away with it looking a little more like heightened, fantastical. And it doesn't look that bad when she has a big fist or she's giant, versus being like a weird, Gumby motherfucker. So that's it. That's my Miss Marvel season 1. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It's like 6 episodes and they're like 45 minutes each. So it's not even like 6 full hours. It's like 4 or 5 hours. It's I think it's a worthwhile watch. It's fun and it teases some cool stuff to come. And yeah. I thought, I will say too, we do know the actress who plays Kamala, she I believe, if not mistaken, this is like her first acting gig ever. She like has like no experience. And I thought she was hit or miss. I thought she seemed really good in some scenes, and other scenes she seemed a little amateurish. So I will give that criticism. But for the most part, like everyone else in the show, was pretty solid, and it was fun. Like, yeah, because it was only 6 episodes, I didn't feel like there were any real like filler episodes. I felt like every episode really was like important and had a good energy and pacing, and really moved through it. Yeah, surprise, surprise, you try something new or that you think you might not like, and you might enjoy it. So, well, folks, that's it. That's another episode of the Fanboy Podcast. Again, Super Breckon, tweet at me, email us, thefanboypodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit up the Fanboy Show at the Fanboy Show on Twitter, or you can reach out to Mario at Superman on Film on Twitter and get at us. Let us know suggestions, questions, topics to explore. And please, like I always say, if you can, just word of mouth, share this podcast with your friends. If you can subscribe on Instagram, if you could subscribe on YouTube, if you could subscribe to the audio podcast in your favorite podcast service, if you could leave us a review, it helps us get out there, get more listeners. It helps us in the search algorithm, and us show up more in people's search results when they are looking for podcasts dedicated to like pop culture and superheroes and video games and all that good stuff. So as always, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to me ramble and ramble and ramble. I apologize, it's been solo podcasts every week, again, extenuating circumstances with Mario's family, and please send again positive thoughts and well wishes to Mario and his family while he gets through this tough time. But yeah, hopefully we will be back as a duo soon. Tell you the truth, I didn't even bother him this week. I just recorded this on my own, and I'm going to let him know as soon as I finish and say, hey, Mario, I got one in the can, so if you need to take a break, go ahead. I'm going to be away this weekend, so I couldn't record any other day. So I wanted to record one for you guys before I left. But I'm going to let him know one's in the can. This can go out. If he wants to record one on his own or feels up to it, he can too. Maybe he'll get some extra content. But yeah, you're going to get a nice a podcast like a day early this week. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Hey, anyway, be kind and stay fanboy. Adios.